Is there anything you'd like to respond to what you've heard today?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to Acting Chairman J. Paul on your comment about the Trump administration moving money around for more detention beds. I'd like to remind you, under the Obama administration, we did that most of the years he was president. We moved money around DHS. It's called reprogramming. We did that under the Obama administration. I don't remember any hearings on that. And also, I'd like to remind you that under the Obama administration, I mean, you're quick to point out that the cages were built under the Obama administration. I was there. Family detention, we had 100 family beds under the Obama administration. We built 3,000 more. So when there was a surge in FY14 and FY15 on the border, Congress was quick to give all the money we needed to build detention facilities, get transportation contracts. We reprogrammed money out of the majority of the years he was president. That was fine. Under Obama administration, FY12, we removed 409,000 people, half of what was removed last year. There was no hearings on that. So this is about transparency. Let's be factual about it.
The time of the gentleman has expired. Since you did address some comments at me, I'll just say that I didn't like it under the Obama administration either. In fact,
but be honest with the American people. You can't point out faults in the Trump administration when it happened under the Obama administration. That's dishonesty. It's pathetic and it's sad.
Mr. Homan, I control the time, and I am the chairwoman of the committee. Thank you for respecting that. I didn't like it under the Obama administration, and I'll remind you, Mr. Homan, that you also testified before Congress in support of the Obama's Priorities Enforcement Program before the Senate Judiciary Committee on May 19th, 2016, which had a very different approach.
Well, can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
No.
Of course not.
I want to give you some time, but I do want to ask one quick question, and I want to make one quick statement. I find it very offensive that anybody would compare any federal employee, frankly, to someone who, the Gestapo or running Nazi concentration camps. That is very offensive. I have 15 seconds and I yield it to you.
Thank you for saying that. I wish somebody in Democratic leadership would say that out loud. Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get me go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one witness, one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. Sure is fun to show you clips from Congress where communists are challenged. The communist in that clip is Premia Jayapal, who took her little gavel and said, "Excuse me, you have no free speech here. You have no constitutional rights here. I am a Marxist. I come from the area of the entire country in Seattle, and I want to speak now, and I want you to be silent." It's so interesting when a Marxist gets challenged, especially by Thomas Homan, who is a total G. This guy is a total G. He was head of ICE for Donald Trump. He's a law enforcement professional, has been a law enforcement professional and police officer for the better part of 40 years. And he was appointed to be the ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement Officer for Donald Trump. Did a damn good job. He was also given an award by Barack Obama as a distinguished executive. Oh my. So Washington Post said of Homan, Thomas Homan deports people and he's really good at it. Great job. Because if you break the law of our country, well then something should happen to you, and that should be that you leave this country. That is why November 14th, 2017, Trump nominated Homan for ICE director, and he did a fantastic job. He was there during a, obviously during a congressional testimony where he testified about the horrors that illegal immigration unfettered has wrought upon this country, and libs should have actually listened to him, because now libs are screaming out. Libs are screaming out. We'll play you a clip in just a second of what people from Chicago are saying about the illegal immigrants that are coming into their communities to take away their power, is what they say. It's amazing if you're a different race, if you're a race that the racist corporate media wants to attack, then you can't talk about issues like that. But the black people of Chicago are saying it outright. When you bring illegal criminal migrants into our communities, you reduce our political power, you reduce our voice, you reduce our economic power, and you take away the potential for our children and for us. That's what they're saying in Chicago. Don't take my word for it. Listen.
These resources that have not come to us, now you want to overly compensate for people who never lived here before, and we need to be taken care of first and foremost before anything else happens here.
Why would any leader put our black communities already riddled with crime at further risk by placing unvetted non-taxpayers steps away from our seniors, our children, and our homes we've worked so hard on our own to secure?
We are at war, people. Our communities are at war. They are violating our communities, and we asking that we across the country, and we asking and we're demanding for office of Black America, or whatever you want to call it, to deal with issues like this.
I did get placed on a wait list, but I was told that the immigrants were taking priority. See, that's a story that a lot of people don't know, and it hurt me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I understand we need to be humanitarian, but these people my participants are third and fourth generation Chicagoan, born, bred, fed, and raised here. My grandmother, Mayrella Carrington, rest in peace, always said, Craig, charity starts at home first, and then it go abroad.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have.
Many of these migrants have been dumped in our neighborhoods without a plan in place to monitor and house them long term.
I'm not selling nothing, and I keep telling people, we don't have to move. If you sell, they gonna come in. If we don't sell, we gotta stand strong and go.
That's right. We just getting started.
But it's not just in Chicago, it's inside of cities that, of course, voted for Joe Biden, voted for these policies. So you get nothing. You get absolutely no empathy or sympathy from me. Ladies and gentlemen, NYC tourism season this summer could be a hot mess if migrants occupy too many hotels. Now, what's that all about? Well, apparently, half of the hotel rooms in New York City are now filled by migrants, according to the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. In an effort to illustrate the severity of the migrant crisis, Eric Adams, who voted for Joe Biden and wants these policies for all New Yorkers, let us remind you, said that nearly half of all hotel rooms in New York are now occupied by migrants seeking asylum. Adams has come under fire in several days for his administration's latest attempts to find housing for 60,000 migrants that have either come to New York because Joe Biden shipped them there on a plane, or come to New York because states like Texas and Florida shipped them there on planes. And, well, you're a sanctuary city, so shouldn't you be a sanctuary, Mr. Man? Well, what are we looking at here with the raw data? Monthly encounters with migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border remain at record highs. This according to Pew Research Center, hardly a right-wing think tank. You can see here in the raw data that since the year 2000, this is where this data goes back to, the year 2000, we haven't seen such spikes in migrant cases. And then what you see here is you see spikes and dips, right? Because you have like various levels of enforcement. And then you get here to the Donald Trump inauguration, and it falls down to literally near zero because Donald Trump enforced our laws. This is what it looks like to enforce our laws right there. And then here comes Joe Biden, right here. There you go. Here comes Joe Biden. Boom. Look at that skyrocket. And it has not stopped since. This is what happens when you actually apprehend people and and expel people, but Joe Biden isn't doing that. The goal is the expulsion under Title 42, saying there's a global pandemic going on, so we can't have just the unwashed masses of the world flooding across our borders. Joe Biden is not expelling anyone anymore. And then here is the most border encounters that involve people that are not from Mexico or the Northern Triangle. This is essentially like the entire rest of the world coming and pouring into our country, including people on the terrorist watch list. Single adults have driven increase in migrant encounters during COVID-19 pandemic. So these are like economic migrants who are single males, military-age males, that are now making up the vast majority of the people coming across the border. Single adults, you can see here. People traveling in family units, you can see here, it's a very small number. Unaccompanied minors, teeny number there. So very inconvenient data for the people that are trying to lie to you. Marjorie Taylor Greene has introduced articles of impeachment for Joe Biden, articles of impeachment for Alejandro Mayorkas as well, following the terrorist apprehensions at our southern border. Mayorkas is accused of willful admittance of illegal immigrants, drugs, human traffickers, terrorists, and deadly fentanyl across our southern border. Third time Republicans have introduced impeachment articles against Secretary Mayorkas. And, well, hopefully it'll be the last. Hopefully people actually gain some stones in Congress and impeach this bastard. But till then, we'll be calling for it right here on this show. It's nice to bring up some old clips of actual fire and brimstone inside the halls of Congress and some real based actors like Thomas Homan. Hopefully he gets appointed in the next Republican administration, because the guy did a damn good job. We try and do a damn good job in this program and end communism. That's what we're all about. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.